with the Tigray forces. That is, of course, the Tigrayan People's Liberation Front, the TPLF, and the Oromo Liberation Army, who say the only solution is a military overthrow of the government. Earlier this year, Ethiopia's government added those two armed groups to its so-called terror list. A reminder of how we got to this point of a conflict that actually broke out back in November. That was when Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed sent troops to fight the TPLF. The group dominated national politics before Abiy came to power. By the end of November, the government announced its forces had taken control of Tigray's regional capital, Mekelle. But the conflict took a stunning turn in June when Tigrayan forces took back Mekelle and government soldiers withdrew. Since then, the rebels have pressed into the neighbouring Afar region in the east, Amhara in the south as well. It's meant that more than 250,000 people have been displaced. Always good to talk to Awal Allo about these issues. He's an analyst on the Horn of Africa and senior lecturer in law at Keele University, on Skype from London today. Awal, thank you for your time. Explain to us how significant it is if the TPLF and the Oromo Liberation Army are talking about an alliance. I guess because Ethiopia is a very regional sort of country, isn't it?
Absolutely. This is enormously significant, and I think what we are looking at is probably the beginning of the end of Abiy Ahmed's era, a man who, over the course of the last 3 years, overestimated his knowledge and understanding of just how complex the Ethiopian state is, essentially bargained with the life of the nation itself, ruling not based on evidence and critical advice that he receives from his ministers, but basically ruling based on instincts and religious hubris, and bringing the country to the kind of destruction and devastation that we have seen now, not just destruction to human life and property, but also to the long-term reputation of the country. So this is a very significant development that it's very difficult to see how the government survives this onslaught, both from the north by TDF, but also from east, south, and west by the Oromo Liberation Army.
So, OK, I have to admit I wasn't expecting that sort of answer for you to say that it could be sort of beginning of the end for Abiy Ahmed. You really think that this idea of a military overthrow of the government, as these two groups are talking about, is a possibility?
Yeah, it's a significant possibility because, remember, TDF itself managed to force the Ethiopian army, which was supported by Amhara militia and by the Eritrean government from Tigray. So the Ethiopian government essentially was defeated in Tigray, withdrew from Tigray. What the government is doing now is basically using sheer, power of man, which a country of 110 million people. It has been mobilizing young people. Essentially without their consent. It has been mobilizing militia. It has been mobilizing police forces as well. So what the government is really trying to do now is to defend its position, to defend and secure itself by pouring hundreds of thousands of people. So from a military standpoint, I think the government is in a very weak position because the Ethiopian Defense Forces are no longer significant forces that could defend the government and the Ethiopian states.
So this is potentially really bad for the whole country, isn't it? I made the point that Ethiopia is a very regionalized country, and you might think, well, this is all happening in the Tigray region, and now Oromo getting involved as well. But the knock-on effect for the rest of the country?
Remember, when this conflict began in Tigray, there were similar incidents in the Oromia regional state. The government has been battling the Oromo Liberation Army. And in fact, the war that was extended to Tigray actually began in Oromia, although in Oromia, because the government had significant control over the Oromia regional states, because the ruling party in that region, it was able to suppress opposition through police, intelligence, reports, and so on and so forth, while at the same time conducting full-scale insurgency. When Tigrayans rebelled, and the government declared war, because Tigray was an independent region and also with significant fighting force, it was forced to basically declare an open war, including inviting the Eritrean government. So it's a highly fragmented country where various groups are basically fighting to secure their own interests and make sure that the government does not take the country in this very totalitarian direction that it has been trying to take the country. And the convergence between the Tigrayans and the Oromos, and they are also talking about other forces joining this alliance. And I think that would bring about a significant change in terms of the military dynamics in the country.
Extraordinary stuff. Well, Alo, great to talk to you and get your opinions. Thank you.